Oh, hi there. Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a very serious topic, and this is about Serena May and Jack Wright, and this will contain topics of sexual assault, or SA, as I'm going to refer to it as, and this is a very serious subject, and I'm very shocked and surprised that not that many people are kind of really talking about it. I only found about this because I saw a video a few days ago on TikTok that I didn't kind of get because there was no kind of context. And then I've been kind of seeing it pop up and I really wanted to talk about it. I'm going to be looking at points of Jack's video. If you want to check it out, link will be in the description as well as in the pinned comments, because I don't want to take a lot away from this video because I think it's very important that his voice gets out there, that he talks about it, and then you can obviously see it. So I do support Jack. I do believe him in this one. So I'm kind of angry at the same time because of how this has all been treated and so on and so on. First of all, there is a tweet which I think is from Jack's brother. If not, it's a very close friend. Has been deleted. Here is a screenshot of the tweet that has been deleted. And as you can see, there's quite a lot on there. If you look at the tweet, it basically says that, you know, Serena kind of prioritizes a lot on following growth and stuff like that. And, you know, it kind of annoys me, the fact that this is the way of thinking. The video that Jack is talking about is this one, which I'm playing now. It's from the user. User will be linked down below as well. And you can see that Jack is completely passed out. There is nothing there that, you know, shows that he is conscious in any way. And when you hear about Serena in her videos that she's talked about, she says that her hand was on his thigh, and that's definitely not the case. You can definitely see that it's on his crotch, and she's trying to obviously get him aroused. Because he's completely passed out, that's not going to happen. Serena mentions that he was awake, you know, he moves his hand, etc, etc. But when you look at the video of his friend getting up and moving out the way, his arm literally just hits the sofa that he's on. If you've passed out, your body would go limp. There's nothing about that. Like, you know, you could literally pick up the arm and then drop it. You know, he's completely passed out. So when you look at this video, even when the arm moves up, it literally just falls down. There is no way that he is moving it himself. And if you get up when you're drunk, or if someone moves when you're present, if he was awake, then you would definitely see that, you know, he would move his hand further, but it just flops. So in this one, she is lying again, and it just irritates me that she's trying to get away and saying like, oh no, he was awake all the time. It's like, no, he wasn't. Many times in Jack's videos, he mentions that he doesn't like her, he says no to her, and she doesn't stop. So you kind of think that after maybe the first time, maybe the second time with advances, and he goes, I'm not interested, I just see us as friends, she would take this away and go, okay, that's cool. But it feels like she's just going after him completely. Like, oh, well, he didn't really mean it. Like, and she's trying to kind of force herself on him, which she's done all the time. And it just makes me wonder, how many times did he have to say no for her to kind of think about it? She talks about consent in a blog. She talks about other things like, you know, she's growing as a person. She is almost an adult. And one thing I don't understand is she would have been told what the difference is between no. You know, she would have also said no if guys were like, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to get together? And she's gone, no. So why didn't she take it from Jack and say, hey, I've said no, stop it? And she's just gone, oh, I don't care. So it feels like she's just ignoring this, which angers me. Like, it makes my blood boil. In a few videos that she's released, she basically goes on and gaslights Jack as well as her audience, saying stuff like, oh, you know, you could have said no, you know, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you come to me? Now, the fact is that if someone says no, or I don't want to hang out with you, or I don't want to do this, you should say, okay, that's cool. I'm not, you know, that's fine. But the way that you're trying to force it. Now, I've seen people that try and guilt people in, like saying stuff like, oh, you know, why don't you want to hang out? And when they give a good enough reason, or they say, oh, I just don't want to, it's like, oh, you just don't want to do that because of this. And they make them feel guilty. This happened to me multiple times when I've said to people, I don't want to hang out. And then they just go off on certain things, or when you try and say certain stuff, like, there's no way. They just want that. So they won't listen to what you have to say because it doesn't suit them. And that really frustrates me on many levels. Jack posts a link, which I've also seen as well, being on TikTok. And this is by Brendan Q. And he brings out some facts. And I agree with him. Everything he says, like Serena got angry, she attacked, she knew that if she could get there first, she could manipulate people to be on the side, because Jack was going to be silent about that. She doesn't want to lose her following, and that's the main thing. She knows that, as I think Jack says in his video, if people found out about this, then it would cancel her, and she doesn't care about anyone else's feelings bar the fact that she's got numbers on her Instagram, on her TikTok or YouTube, and she wants that fame. She's trying to manipulate people into going, yeah, this is not happening. And when you start thinking like that, you're not thinking about other people, you're just thinking about the lifestyle that you've got. And that, I'm sorry, is just shit. It's fucking shit. Jack brings up some really good points, mainly like when she's advanced on him and he's tried to say no. How does he get rid of her? If she's hugging him or kind of holding on to him, how can you force her off? Like, how can you push her away? And he knows that if he did something bad, like push her and she got hurt or something, that she would go straight out and like complain, ending his career straight away. And this isn't right. At the end of the day, Jack has turned around and said, no, please don't do this. She's completely not listened to him because it doesn't fit her needs. You kind of think that as soon as someone says no, and this is the first time that happens, Jack mentions that she gets naked and straddles him and he says no. And you kind of think, okay, so the next day when it's like, okay, really sorry about that, you would learn from that first encounter where he's like, I'm not interested in you. But it just doesn't like sit with her. She advances on him, she gets naked and straddles him, as I said. Then it's like breaking into his house and his room, then picking the lock to get into his room, and then having her hands down his pants when he's sleeping. It's like, can you not? Like, I just don't understand that he said no multiple times, and yet you're continuously doing this, even to the fact that you're jumping out of a car to get to him. It's just mind-boggling. He said no. What don't you get of that? Then there's another part, and I've seen this happen so many times with people where, he's talking to other girls and she's getting jealous, she hates it, but yet she'll go and flirt with other people. She will then go and do stuff with other people, but yet when Jack does it on his own, boom, what happens? She just literally starts screaming and shouting at him. I have seen that with some people, and it's like, he doesn't like you, but yet you're not taking that in. What the actual fuck on this one? What is wrong with people at times? She's apologizing all the time, and she isn't kind of taking on the lessons from it. So they're just empty apologies. Sorry, I didn't mean to do this. And then does the same thing over and over again. What the actual fuck is going on? One thing I feel sorry for is that Jack thinks that this is the norm. He didn't say anything. He thought that this is what people do, or this is what she does, and he can't stop it. And he had to accept that. And do you know what? I feel really sorry, because you shouldn't have to do that, because I just don't understand why people, when someone says no, they don't respect boundaries, and obviously Serena doesn't. So I feel sorry that he had to go through this for such a long time to think that this was the norm, until one day like she did something and he completely snapped and he said no, and now this is all coming out. I just feel really sorry for Jack, and I can see it and hear it in his voice all the time. And it's I don't know, it's just, I feel really bad for him on this one. It's a horrible thing that he's gone through this, and what I find irritating is the fact that she's done this with other people. People have come forward, people have said things, and you kind of think that when this happens, like, you would respect boundaries of people. So when she says like, oh, she doesn't understand boundaries, or if people have said that she doesn't understand them, then you kind of think that she needs to learn about boundaries. Because if this was on her, and I hope a guy would never do this to her, but then she would say, respect my boundaries. So why couldn't she respect other people's if she knows what hers are? I think the reason why this isn't being talked about on a bigger level is because he's a guy. And I think at times people don't take this serious because he's a man. But if this was reversed, then it would be all over the place. He would be cancelled. He'd be arrested. His career would be over. No one would want to associate with him. It all happens. I feel like sometimes because he's a guy, people just don't really take it seriously, and you can see this happen pretty much all over the internet, in day-to-day lives, and I find that really heartbreaking. I will say all of this stuff is allegedly, he's come out with his part, she's come out with hers, so all of this is allegedly. So take this, as I say, allegedly, But I believe Jack on this one. I believe exactly what he's gone through. So I have no reason to doubt him. I can't find this. I've seen other people like do this. So if you just type in Serena May apology video or dancing video, you can see that other people have reacted. And this was just basically a PR stunt. I don't feel like it's a heartfelt apology because, you know, it's not one of those sit down in the cameras and say, hey, I'm really sorry, or talk about it. It's all this like, let me do this and let me talk about this. Like, you know, I'm on this earth to be to give people inspiration. And it's like, are you really? Is it you're going to sexually assault someone because they've said no and you don't understand the word no? But she does this whole dancing thing with these words, and it's just a massive PR stunt. Like, literally, it's not, I don't feel like it's a heartfelt apology. It's not really an apology anyway. But I feel like it's just one of these things of, oh, I'm young and I don't know what I'm doing. Yet you know basic stuff. Like, it's not like you were a lot younger. You're in your teens. Like, people say that the mind's developed, or developing, should I say, but then why can't you understand boundaries? It's not like you hit, you know, your adulthood and go, oh crap, now I know about boundaries. Woohoo! You should be knowing this, and you would have been taught this at a young age, and you would have been constantly learning this all the way through your life. I think when I see this sort of video, it's more like she's thinking, or the PR company's thinking, they go, oh, we forgive you. Yes, you were young and you need to be forgiven, queen. You know, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, you go, girl. And then it's just like, it's completely forgotten and swept under the rug. These sorts of videos, these PR like videos really just annoy me. I just think it's BS from them whatsoever. When doing my research on this, I watched a few other videos by a few YouTubers that were kind of talking about it. And when obviously she wrote this post, you know, trying to kind of deflect and try to kind of like talk about a few things, I noticed that she said stuff about, you know, race, her being like a Latina woman, as well as like other things about consent. All of this will be linked in the description so you can have a look. But I feel like these are like the buzzwords, like, you want to get out of trouble? Well, it's the fact that I'm, you know, so-and-so, or, you know, I am this ethnic race. Well, whatever it is, just to try and be like, well, you know, we understand. I don't know why just using that it's going to help. It's not like it's going to change anyone's thoughts about what you've done and how people have seen this. It's not going to be an instant, well, it's because of this. It's not. It just makes you look like a really fucking shitty person that uses their background or whatever to try and get out of things. It just really irritates me when I see this sort of stuff. It doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a shitty person. So kind of rounding this up, my kind of last few like things that I've mentioned, you know, she mentions about how it's like, you know, she thought they were in a relationship, or, you know, it was going down that way. But from everything from what I've seen is it was a made up relationship for the cameras. You know, it wasn't a proper one. And obviously he has said no multiple times. So you kind of think that if he was like, hey, I just want to be friends, I don't see you other than a friend, you would kind of take that on board. You know, it's the fact that there are cameras around and it's not going to kind of change anything. It's a really shitty thing. If you felt yourself falling in love with him and you didn't know it was a relationship and he said no, then why not go to the people making the show and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, and they would have changed it. You know, even if they were like trying to push you more into it, you could have easily have said, no, I've got feelings for this guy, but I don't want to pursue it because he doesn't feel the same. It's a very simple thing. And I don't understand why people aren't like changing it. If people are like, oh no, we have to walk from it and be like, I'm not doing this. Kind of closing this off is, I believe Jack. I'm sorry that Jack has gone through all this, and it does break my heart. You know, it's something that no one should go through regardless. It shouldn't happen. So yeah, I just really hate the fact that he's gone through this. I'm glad now that he's released his story, he's told everyone about it, and he took his time. I hate the fact that some places are trying to brush this off, and I feel like that is a harsh thing, because again, if roles were reversed, this would be absolutely everywhere. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. This is a very sensitive subject. This is a very big one. I will be keeping everyone up to date when more of this stuff happens. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know down below in the comments. If you like this sort of video, hit the like, favorite, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.